Hey guys, I'm going to be looking at the net of a 3D figure today, so please feel free to pause, rewind, or play back anything you need more time on or just need to rehear. Alright, so here's a 3D object. It's a corn of one of my favorite cold cereals, which is Corn Pops. It's great. If you go to America, you should try them. And the mathematical name for this is a rectangular prism because it's a rectangle, and you can see this rectangle right there at the top, and it's been stretched out, and there's another rectangle at the bottom with flat sides in between. Okay, we're about to draw a net. And a net is basically, if I were to cut into this box, not enough so all the pieces separated, but so I had one giant piece that was perfectly flat, what would that look like? So let's imagine that I cut into this. Let's say I put my scissors in and I was able to cut in here, right along that edge. Oop, disappeared. There we go. That edge, this edge, that little edge right there, that one, and behind it, even though I can't see it, that one. So imagine me putting scissors in and cutting along there, then lying this whole thing flat, so all the cardboard is lying flat. What I'd end up with is the back sitting right there. So that would be the one I can't see. Oops, sorry about that. With the left side still attached to it, and the right side still attached to it. And you can see I've labeled those there and attached them to the back piece. And then attached over here to the right side right there is the front. The front's still attached to the right side, so I attach it over here. But that's only 4 of the sides, and this also has a top and bottom, which are still attached to the back. Alright, there I go. I've done all of the labeling of the different faces. Now I've got to put in the dimensions, which are based on what it tells me right here. It tells me the width of the box is 20. The depth of it is 3, and the height of it is 30. So now I need to make sure to label everything. And the rule is, if you label something, so for instance, if I label the top, well, I know that's 20 across, so I put 20 centimeters. I don't have to label this one or this one because they all line up with that 20 and are connected. But I do need to label, let's see, this is 30, but again, 30 centimeters. I don't have to label any of those lines from here on out because I assume those are all 30. I do need to show that this is 3 centimeters right here and this is 3 centimeters right there. I do need to show this is 3 centimeters and that this one is 20 centimeters. And I think I've covered everything. Oh, nope, I need to show that this one is 3 centimeters right there. See if you can draw a net for this 4 by 5 by 1 box. This is pretty big, they're all meters, so this is pretty darn huge. See if you can find the net, and I'm going to give you a second to pause and do that in your book. See if you get the same thing I do, or at least something similar. So this is the time. Pause the video, see what you get. Alright, we're going to go through it now. So as you can see, I have a front right there, which means I have a copy of it in the back, even though I can't see it. And I have a left side right here, and a right side, even though I can't see it, I know it's there. And then I have a top and bottom, which are going to look kind of like this. And there's the one on the bottom that I can't see. Depending on the way you think of cutting yours might look different. But let's say, for me, I decide to cut here, here, here. I also decide to cut there, and I decide to cut back here, even though you can't see it, like that piece back there. And let's go with, I cut here, and here. Let's see, will that work? I guess I can't cut it at the bottom there, so I'm going to undo that last one. But I can cut there. Alright, so then I am going to lay this all out and see what I get. I'd have that back piece that's in the very back, even though I can't see it. Attached to that, I would have a bottom piece. And then attached to that bottom piece, I would have my front piece. And then let's see if I go back and look. Attached to the front piece, I have a side piece. another side piece, left and right, and then I still have the top piece attached right there. Okay, so now I actually have to label this as what I think they are. And again, if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay, as long as you have all 6 pieces and they look kind of similar. And there you go, I labeled all 6 ones with the different sides they were. And then I have to go about figuring out their different dimensions, so putting that in. If it helps, you can color code it based on what you have, so maybe I'm going to do that. So I know that my front and back are those yellow bits. Front and back. I know that my 2 side bits are the pink ones, so left and right. And I know my bottom and top are those crazy bluey ones, bluish teal, I don't know, whatever you want to call that right there. And let's go down here. Okay. And I can go back up and look at my measurements to figure out what's going to go where. I only need 1 measurement at the top there, and that's going to cover a lot of it. So that's the back, and the back is on the long side 5 meters. So that right there is 5 meters, and I can just write 5. I don't need the curly bracket. I know that it's a width of 1 meter, and I know that the bottom, let's see, the part attached to the back is still 5. The other side is going to be 4. Okay, because I know this, I already know this top part's 5 because of this right here, so I know this side has to be the 4 side. And then I keep writing, so I know this is also going to be 4 meters, because if I look back here, the long side is 4, the short side is 1 meter, and I need to put that's 4 meters, but I already know that this side right here has to be 1 meter because I already wrote it right there across from it. So I keep going. I already know this side is 4 because across from it is that. I already know this side is 4 because of that. I don't know this side yet because the one across from it isn't labeled, so I label that one. That's going to be 4 meters. And I already know this one down here because the one at top is labeled 5, so we already got that one. So now this is officially labeled. Done. But what if you have a cylinder instead, like this lovely can of black beans, my favorite? So let's try to figure out the net for that one. Well, you already know the top and bottom of a can of beans is going to be a circle, so that's pretty typical in our net, but what about this side right here? Well, if you imagine peeling off the label and laying it flat, what would that look like? Hopefully you're thinking the same thing I am, which is a rectangle. So we have this big rectangle, which is our label, and believe it or not, the label is pretty big around, so Goya is going to be facing up like that. This is going to be my 10 centimeters right there. And then I usually put the cans, usually the drawing is you have 2 circles, something like that. And that shows your top, bottom, and label. All right, there's a more formal name for that, but we'll talk about that later. Now we just need to label the dimensions. Well, we know the radius of our circles is 2.5, so we can just stick that straight onto our circle. So there's a radius, 2.5 centimeters. This is also a radius, 2.5 centimeters, easy. We also know the height, we've already labeled 10 centimeters, so the hard part is this piece right there. If you think about the top of a can, the label wraps around the whole edge of the circle, so it goes from here and the label wraps around and it ends here. The edge of a circle is called the circumference of the circle, and in this case, the circumference, remember circumference is diameter times pi. We know that this is, if we go back to the other image, this is 2.5, which means that the diameter would be 5, so the circumference equals 5 pi, or 5 times pi. And that's a pi button right there. All right, so if I were to label this edge right here, that's really the edge that wraps around there, so it's the circumference of 5 pi centimeters. Okay, I'm all done with that one. See if you can try this one on your own and get the same thing I do. So pause, give it a try, see what you can do. Okay, I'm going to draw out mine. I have my label, and this is a little bit shorter, but I have my 2 circles. I know the radius is 2.5, so that's easy enough to right in, and 2.5. You see that's a great circle right there and a great 2.5. I know my height is not very big. It's only 1.5 centimeters, so I could have drawn this a lot smaller, but that's all right. And then I need to say my label, which is the diameter times pi, so 5. Pi is my diameter. Hopefully you got the same thing I did, and it's done and labeled. All right, guys, that's it. At that point, you should have one example of one I did with you and showed you for a prism and a cylinder net, so one each, plus one that you tried on your own for each. So a total of 4 total examples or problems that we worked on. Have a good day, guys.